you can feel something shifting, you're not imagining it. 2026 is one of the most transformative years of the decade, and I want you to be able to take full advantage of it. That's why I'm hosting a live 2026 astrology forecast on January 8th. We're going to break down the biggest planetary shifts and themes of the year and how they'll affect your chart, so you can move into the year with clarity instead of confusion, faith instead of fear, and obviously a whole lot of cosmic sparkle. Head to cosmicrx.com to join us. This week, the sky says the eclipses are coming. The eclipses are coming. Everybody in the club getting eclipsy.
Welcome to Cosmic RX Radio, a podcast that gives you real-life tools of spiritual empowerment and pure hype. I'm your host and intuitive guide, MADI Murphy. I'll be serving up your weekly energy readings, cosmic boss interviews, and astro inspiration. Are you ready to love yourself more, manifest your dream life, and own your magic? Let's jump in.
Welcome back to a special little bonus episode of Cosmic RX Radio. I'm your host, high vibe, hype woman, your cosmic consultant, your cosmic big sister, who is just here to give you the 411 on the WTF of it all, so we can understand what's happening in the cosmos to better understand ourselves, what's happening here on Earth, hopefully not just survive, thrive, and even align with the highest and hottest self. If you're new here, welcome. What an interesting moment to arrive. This episode is all about the first eclipse season of 2026. And I want to say this clearly right up top. This is not a good vibes only moment, right? This is a threshold. Eclipses are what happen when the universe stops asking politely and starts getting real. The eclipses come to play karmic catch up. Imagine if anyone here ever played with a slinky growing up. The slinky, imagine it going down a stair, a really big step. It's going, and then it reaches a tipping point, right? And then it crunches in of itself and then just starts moving. I always feel like eclipse seasons do that in terms of a turning point in the year, a turning point in larger cycles that are happening, whether that's from the past year and a half, whether that's from the past 8 or 9 years ago, whether that's from thousands of years ago, which I'll get into. But they are acceleration points, they're turning points, they're infused and imbued with chaos magic. They interrupt timelines, they reroute momentum, they give us planetary plot twists with endings and beginnings that can happen in one breath, like a sliding door moment. This eclipse season really matters, and I really want you to feel empowered during this. If you've been listening and following along, I'm taking a break until coming back for the spring equinox, start of Aries season, for personal reasons, for business reasons, essentially to refill my cups. But I could not leave you without a special eclipse season guidebook, handbook, playbook, because I have found that once I started to understand what eclipses were asking of me, I could work with them instead of getting worked over by them. And that makes all the difference, right? Everything that I do in my astrological practice is for you to feel empowered, right? For you to feel aligned, for you to feel in a place of co-creation. So, back to this eclipse season, we have an Aquarius eclipse on 2/17 and a Virgo full moon eclipse on 3/3. Eclipses happen in pairs, right? And this one is very significant, not just personally for us, but culturally, creatively, spiritually. And this is all, the intersection of my work are these three things. You're going to hear me referencing my book In the Cosmic Zone during this. Yes, it's a shameless self-plug, but it's more than that, because I wrote this book for these times that we are living in. We are in revolutionary times. No human alive has lived through a time like this. I don't even know if in the history of humankind, through the astrological lens, if we've lived through a moment with this much change, and we need new ways of being and relating. And to me, that feels like building the future by using ancient wisdom, by remembering, right, what the cosmos, what spirit wants to tell us, so we can deprogram ourselves from all the things we thought we should be that have kept us trapped, stuck, lost, drained, distracted, and actually be who the F we're meant to be and live a life where we are connected to soul, to nature, to spirit, and we're filled with life force energy, authenticity, alignment, embodiment, flow. Okay. So the things I'm talking about in this podcast, I'm going to reference chapters in this book if you want to go deeper. And I highly recommend you do, because this is such a significant turning point. We are planting seeds for a whole new paradigm we're living in. And alignment is not passive. I just want to really reiterate that. Alignment is a response to timing. Alignment takes tools. Alignment takes self-awareness. Alignment takes self-reflection and space and trust. And again, it's very hard to get yourself in alignment without some sort of help, accountability, framework, language, right? So today I'm going to ground us in what eclipses actually do, how to work with them without spiraling, why this Aquarius solar eclipse on 2/17 paired with the start of the fire horse year is such a big deal, and why the lunar Virgo eclipse 2 weeks later is basically the psychic spring cleaning you cannot run or hide from. So as always, before I get in, let's just take a breath. I want to remind us of two things as we go into this. You were born in this moment in history, not by accident, but on purpose and with purpose. Another breath. You are not behind. You are right on time. And whatever the next few weeks bring up, I want you to trust and set the intention right now that you allow them to happen for you, not to you. Okay. These things are happening through you. They are helping align you, realign you, and get you into the place where you need to be. Right. All right. So what is a solar eclipse? Foundational 101. A solar eclipse happens when the moon moves between the earth and the sun, temporarily blocking the sun's light. So we know scientifically, astronomically, we've heard of this, but let's think about symbolically. What does that mean? The sun is the giver of all life. The sun is the great illuminator. The sun is life force energy in our consciousness. So this is almost like a reset of consciousness. Someone is like resetting the Wi-Fi router. And solar eclipses, they do not work like regular new moons. They are a new moon, but a new moon on steroids. This is not about setting cute intentions. This is not about manifesting. This is about an initiation of the universe playing that slinky catch up that I mentioned before on seeds you've already been laying. This is not the time to try to control, to try and force a narrative, to put out the wishes. This is a time to instead just listen and trust and get the information you need to make the most informed, aligned, empowering decision. And eclipses usually come and close one door and open another simultaneously, like a true revolving door. And, they can interrupt momentum. If you were on a track to do something, the plug might get pulled instantly. They also accelerate timelines, things that you've been working on that you're trying to manifest, that you're like, this is going to take years to do this. It might happen in months or even weeks. Okay. And they really fast tracked, there's certain words that I get a little cringy when I say them, but they are my truth, is like your destiny line, right? Like your destiny line, your highest soul's calling. They can fast track the moments that get us there and realize things. And that's also why they can feel so intense. It's why they're also incredibly destabilizing. But that's what chaos magic is. Chaos magic needs us in destabilization so that there's room for new things to grow, right? Something, and if you've been avoiding something, it's going to feel unavoidable. Okay. So one thing we're going to talk about is just getting really aware of your shit right now. Like really aware of like, is there something you've been putting off, some big decision, something you've been ignoring, some little like lie you've been living in. It's not about punishment, but it's about instead like, can I start taking some steps towards living in more truth with myself? So the key teaching here, which I really want to make sure everyone knows, and it's a big theme in my work, is like, this is not about punishment. Eclipses are not about control. And it's not about us controlling it either. This is not about predictions. This is not about avoiding uncertainty. This is about surrendering to a higher and divine intelligence then we can maybe even understand, and that can see further than we can, right? And to trust that we are held in that, to not muscle force, to not be so very human through this eclipse season, right? To sit in the space of listening, observing, allowing the field around you to rearrange, being in the heart space. Let's talk turkey. Let's talk housekeeping. Let's talk just some very basic eclipse do's and don'ts. Okay. This is the practical magic of it all. Do's, eclipses, I want you to observe more than you act. I always like to say, if you want to fling something out ahead of the eclipse, I always feel like it's like throwing something into a tornado, like a boomerang, and just being like, I don't know where that's going to go, but I got it out there. I gave the eclipse something to work with, but then it's pencils down. If you remember in school, when it was over, the time for writing was done, right? So we go pencils down. Then we go into the place of we're looking at what are our other spiritual practices besides manifestation. Because when people come at me in my DMs and my comments for years and being like, they get all uptight about not being able to manifest during eclipse season, I say, first of all, I don't care really what you do. It's between you and, the divine. But I do like to challenge them of like, a spiritual practice is not manifestation alone. That's just you being like a hyper consumerist with the universe, right? Like that is overconsumption mode. If all you're doing is asking, asking, asking. So what else do you do for your spiritual practice? Are we journaling? Are we meditating? Are we moving our body? Are we pulling cards? Are we making art? Are we showing up to, help our community, call our senators, volunteer? Those are all spiritual practices as well. We're doing things to rest our nervous system, right? Breath work. If you can get, a massage or some kind of treatment, this will help you be in the place to ground what the eclipse wants to show you and move through you. And definitely rest and hydrate. Eclipses are incredibly intense physically. And I always talk about this. But when I first got my dog, like my dog Chance, he got so sick as he's ever been during the first Taurus Scorpio eclipse when we had him, and he's a Taurus. And I was like, oh my God, he was literally, he had a bitch overnight. He like couldn't breathe. It was so scary. It was so scary. And no one really ever knew what it was. And it just sort of came and went. He's been fine since. But it really reminded me of what a physical toll eclipses take. And I've known a lot of people who just, babies come early on eclipses, and people who are maybe ready to say their goodbyes during eclipses. Like it's an intense time. It's a threshold. Okay. So I want you to be really aware of your physical body. This is not the time to, let the blood sugar get low. This is not the time to not have good sleep habits. This is not the time to forget to stay hydrated. Right. And we're just noticing synchronicities, symbols. Nothing's a coincidence ever. Definitely not during eclipse season. We're staying flexible. We're staying curious. We're collecting data. And then eclipse stones, like I said, we're not forcing manifestation timelines. We're just pausing our manifestation practice. It's like 2 weeks, maybe a month, but I think we can go that long without, right, doing that. Do not make huge life decisions in the heat of the moment. If something's been brewing for a while, you might have an opportunity that comes that feels like it's like lined up and amazing and already kind of decided for you. Like, wow, I'm working towards this. This is the opening versus I hate my job. I'm going to quit tomorrow with no plan, with no other insight, right? Like it's nuanced, but don't make really spur of the moment decisions. Eclipses can conceal information and they also reveal information. So do not ignore your body. Do not over explain yourself or your vision. And I really just want you to think about letting the eclipse move you, right? Before you move the pieces, and think about, what do you want? I started using this analogy years ago, but like the eclipse crew, especially the one on 3-3, is like you have a bunch of muscle bound movers coming to your house. And you're like, great, because I have so much stuff I want to get rid of. The house is crowded. It's not feeling great. And I've been wondering how I'm going to get rid of this stuff. And they're like, great, we're going to come tomorrow morning and we're going to take 3 items. But it's up to you to decide what I'm putting out. And if you don't get intentional about what you're ready to let go of or what you're ready to change, it's like those movers will come in and just pick 3 random things. And then it might be your favorite couch. It might be the armchair you inherited from your great grandma who you love so much. It might be like your favorite sweater that just makes your eyes pop. So that doesn't feel good, having the universe essentially clean out something that we had no say in. On the other hand, though, if you're like, you know what, I really am like so over this low vibe IKEA coffee table that I got when I was 21. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this broken microwave. What? And let's get rid of this whatever dresser armoire that the drawers always snag and drive me crazy. And wow, that feels so good. I feel so much lighter. All I had to do was leave it there. It got picked up. I didn't have to take this out the stairs, the elevator. I didn't have to get in my car and drop it off, and it's done. And now I can have new space, new energy, like to co-create in my home. I hope this metaphor helps, because truly when I've guided people through this in my private client work, they have felt so much better. And this is, people fear eclipse season, but when you understand how to work with it, everything changes, right? So this brings us into February 17th, the solar eclipse. The year of the fire horse begins, right? Hello, the rebel returns. So 2026 is a fire horse year. Before I get into the Aquarius solar eclipse of it all, I just want to give a moment to talk about, this is huge. The last fire horse year we had was 1966. This year brought extreme counterculture moments and movements, right? It brought civil rights uprisings. It brought feminist organizing. It brought just a time, right, of everything from protest music to mass movements of women wanting to get their rights back. And the fire horse year, especially for human rights, is an extremely life-changing year, and it comes with the heat. Okay, it's artistic revolution, it's collapse of outdated authority structures. So it's going to be intense, and we need to be in a place where we can feel empowered by this and feel lit up by it, not like burnt out by it. Yeah, like I have civil rights movements, Vietnam War protests, obviously. The National Organization of Women was formed. We also had huge developments like ATM machines, lots of counterculture movements. And, it's really just themes around radical independence, right? Refusal to be controlled, passion driven, creative, untethered, right? And this is not rebellion for rebellion's sake. There's a conscious defiance to this, there's a strategic defiance to this. And people who have been quietly preparing suddenly feel very emboldened to step forward. Revolutionary, disruptive creators, reformers, whistleblowers, visionary leaders. The question shifts from, who am I to do this and who am I not to do this? Can I, to will I? And also in my book, why me to do this? And then also, why not me? So this is very much in my book, that Aries first key, this fiery year. There's a lot to unpack in there. If you're feeling like, I want to own more of that, check out that chapter. This is not the year to wait for permission. This is not the year to be in your good girl energy. It's not going to get you anywhere. You're going to end the year feeling stale and stagnant and like you slept on yourself. I want you to end this year of being like, holy shit, I bet on myself. I chose myself, and I am living in a reality that is beyond even what I could have dreamt of. Okay. And then, so while that is happening with the year of the fire horse, it's also this Aquarius solar eclipse. So it's a new moon at late degrees of Aquarius. It's the annular, it's called a ring of fire solar eclipse. And this is the first eclipse on the Leo Aquarius axis since 2018. Since 2019. And this is a threshold moment. Aquarius governs technology, community, futuristic thinking, idealistic thinking, identity, leadership, freedom. We, the people, right? Pluto is already in Aquarius, and this is one of the key, most defining astrological signatures of our time. We've had a very Aquarius of an Aquarius month. Basically, every planet that could be in Aquarius in terms of the personal planets were there all at the same time this past month. And it's why we feel, right, this rising feeling. And this eclipse, we're going to have Uranus and Taurus adding some unpredictability. We're going to have Saturn ruling this eclipse with Uranus co-ruler, and Saturn is freshly entered into Aries. So there's just a lot of this energy of like, we the people are in a revolution, but me as the individual, I need to learn what I need to show up and be independent and go my own way and stay in my courage and stay in my passion. So, on the collective level, the old systems are persisting, right? Like they're not going to go down without a fight. They've been constructed this way and upheld for centuries. But their limits are no longer hidden. We are starting to see where there is vulnerability, where there is weakness, where there is collapse, where there is infighting, where there is certain, House of Cards moments happening. And that's what's so cool. This is not a total eclipse, but there is something in that a little bit of light showing. It's showing like a weakening, a questioning, a reshaping. This eclipse is adding a little bit more pressure on the collective level. And it's going to open a new Leo Aquarius cycle that's going to unfold over years. And we look back to the last Leo Aquarius cycle started 2016, 2017. And this is now going to really highlight the tension between personal visibility and collective responsibility. Okay. And it's on both sides, right? You do not need anyone's permission or consensus to move forward, but it's also not just about you, and your life is never going to feel as good as it can feel if you ignore what's happening in the collective. We need coherence. Okay. Now, with the late degree eclipse, it usually signals some kind of inevitability, like conditions have matured as far as they can. Decisions can no longer be deferred. It's time to mother effing go. It's time to make a decision. And there is going to be, with Saturn ruling this eclipse from Aries, saying action is required. Action is required. So yeah, there's a big reorientation, and there's going to be lots of themes around, leadership, the public mood. And this is going to be for you where you have Aquarius in your chart, where you have Aries in your chart. I really want you to understand those fields, and Leo for this one, because it's going to be very important to set you up for success for the next year and a half. And there's tremendous opportunities for success if you know what's happening. If you don't know what's happening in your chart, it can just feel really confusing, draining, overwhelming. And I just want to say this too, like this is not going to land the same way for everyone. In the weeks that follow, I am doing a small group coaching container where we're going to look exactly at how this eclipse and the fire horse year are working in your chart. And we're going to have it like a support group, because I find the best, most meaningful change happens when people get together, have a space to talk, to cry, to share, to be open, and also to be held accountable, to stay focused, to stay in a place of hype as we move through these intense thresholds. So if you're interested, please check out. We have links in our bio and our Instagram and in the show notes. But this is for you if you know that you want to do something different and you want support staying aligned while you do it. You don't have to know about astrology, but you do have to come in a place of ready to be in a launch pad from your comfort zone into your cosmic zone. Okay. If your nervous system just lit up or you've got little tingles, that's a big clue, baby. You're ready. A clue and a cue. So that's the Aquarius eclipse. Then we go into March 3rd for the total lunar eclipse in Virgo. So 2 weeks later, and that's how eclipses happen. And this heart of this time, from February 17th to March 3rd, it is like we are in a portal. Time is weird. The body's going to feel weird. You're like suspended outside of time and space. So I have to say, be careful, stay grounded, rest, drink lots of water, right? All of that. This is a season. It's not just a one-time event. And then we go into the blood moon, a total lunar eclipse blood moon. Sorry, total lunar eclipse blood moon. Pretty dramatic on 3/3. Total lunar eclipses are culminations. They reveal what's been quietly building, and we can look back to September of this year to understand what's been building. But we can go back to actually September of 2024 to see what might have been building since then. Okay. And you can look in your personal chart for that and understand where you have Virgo in your chart. There is a culmination, there's a release, there's an integration, there's a stepping forward. On the collective level, we might see things come up around health, labor, systems, maintenance, right? And Virgo is going to ask what is actually working and what's being held together by a string or by habit or exhaustion. No, because this is a South Node eclipse. South Node eclipses emphasize release, not dramatic endings, not like it's not drama. It's like I've known for a while I have to release this, and I'm just like I'm done with it. And what must finally be set down and what is needing to be cleared out to make room for the better, the more aligned, the brighter, right? The more vibrant, the more true, the more authentic. I like to think about we're going into Aries season. Virgo, full moon, lunar eclipse is like this big spring cleaning that we do before we go into that new energy, right? So it feels so good to go into like when you move and you just set up your new desk area and everything feels organized and clean and clear and you just feel so excited to work, or cleaning out your closet and having only things that fit and light you up makes you excited to get dressed in the morning. There's kind of this purging that's happening so you can feel really excited for Aries season and also have space and more openness for new opportunities, new blessings, new energy to come through. And Mercury is ruling this eclipse, and Mercury will be retrograde. And this is about like clarity that's coming from the emotional, intuitive level through the signs, the symbols. This is not things you can logic your way out of. This is like your body telling the truth first, right? And this eclipse is going to affect mutable signs most strongly, especially Virgo and Pisces, but everyone's going to feel it through labor and health systems and service roles and invisible work, and the helpers and the healers are all going to be really affected by this eclipse. And I meant to say that the fixed signs will be the most affected by the solar eclipse. So the solar eclipse in Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus, you're going to feel that a lot. And then the Virgo eclipse, the Virgo and Pisces, Gemini, and Sag are going to feel that the most, okay? So this work of this eclipse is simplification, right? Simplification to open up more space. So if you're feeling the pressure, uncertainty, or sense that something is shifting without a clear map, you're not doing it wrong. If you're feeling like things are getting all kicked up in the air, you're not imagining it. This is what eclipse season does. And if you really wanted to go deeper into that Virgo eclipse energy, I highly recommend Key 6 Practice Makes Magic. This is a great time to start a spiritual practice if you don't have one, just something to connect you to the divine through ritual, to ground you. It could be lighting a candle every morning. It could be journaling. It could be pulling cards. It could be praying. It could be talking to your ancestors. It could be sitting by a tree. There's so many things to do, but I do want you to do something that helps you connect to a practice. And if you're feeling called to do something new, starting in Aries season, this might be a good time to practice before you bring it out. The only way to get good at something is to just do it and start before it's perfect and to practice it, right? So this is it, baby. We're in eclipse season. We are letting go of the comfort zone to make room for the cosmic zone. And we're doing it on the personal and the planetary level right now. And again, if you want more support, if this is all feeling really true to you, but you want a little bit more guidance and you want to really make sure that this eclipse season is where things shift and change for you for once and for all, check out the small group coaching that I'm offering. And either way, whether you do that or not, I want you to think about resting when you can, observing what's unraveling, trust where you're being led, right? The block is the blessing. The redirection is protection, and just noticing, realizing, remembering. You are not here to be punished or controlled by this moment. You're here to meet it consciously. So I will be back soon. I will be back for Aries season. And in the meantime, check out our Substack, Cosmic RX, check out our Instagram. We will be dropping things, on both those places to keep you keyed in and tuned up. Until then, trust the intelligence that's moving through you. And of course, I am wrapping you in prayers for big, fat, juicy checks and hot, fulfilling, toe-curling sex. Mwah. Do you love getting your Cosmic RX for the week here and want more? Make sure to sign up for our premium subscription so you can get exclusive access to bonus podcast episodes, all of my astrology info for the month ahead, and live new and full moon calls to help you manifest your dream life with an intentional, international community of other cosmic baddies. Sign up through our link in show notes.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to know more about Cosmic RX, head on over to thecosmicrx.com. And if you really love this show, I'd love it if you left a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. I super love hearing from you and reading your reviews. All right, you cosmic baddie, tune in next week. And until then, remember, love yourself fully, work your magic, and take no shit.